Welcome to Good for Bitcoin, a weekly show recorded live every Friday, where we recap the top events of the week and talk about everything that is good for Bitcoin. If it's built on Bitcoin, then it's good for Bitcoin. Let's get started.
Content shared on this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute financial, investment, or legal advice. The views and opinions expressed are those of the host and guests and do not reflect the official policy or position of any other agency, organization, or company. We encourage you to conduct your own research and consult with a qualified professional before making any financial decisions.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Good for Bitcoin. I am Kate. I'm the community lead here at Leather, and I'm going to be one of your main co-hosts today, along with the amazing Longstreet. How are we doing today, Sean?
Good, Kate. GM. How you doing today?
Oh, pretty good. It's been a good week all around. Pretty exciting. There's a lot going on, trust machines wise, and in Leather. So yeah, really excited for this show. There's been some fun happenings in the Bitcoin world, so really excited to dive into it.
Yeah, definitely. So what's new on the community side?
Community side. So I've been hanging out mostly in our Discord. I got that up and launched in the last couple of weeks, and we just had an inflow of people coming in, hanging out, chatting about the projects that they're working on. Obviously, we've alluded to Leather Alpha. So we've had a lot of people come in, check that out a little bit. So Leather Alpha is in relation to our mobile launch. There's going to be a lot of fun things happening around there. Yeah, just, I think it's just a lot of excitement around Stacks and the Nakamoto upgrade. That's really what I've been seeing. That's really what I've been seeing for excitement around here. But yeah, what about you? Anything exciting that you've seen?
I mean, definitely, it's all Nakamoto for sure. We've been waiting for this. We've been talking about it for a year. I remember a year ago, last October, at Building on Bitcoin, the conference in last October in London. Jude was presenting on the Nakamoto upgrade, and he was just kind of blowing a lot of minds there. And so now, and like we mentioned on yesterday's show, it was supposed to happen around April. But then a few weeks after it was supposed to go live, Stacks Foundation announced that it was going to be delayed until sometime around this year. And that was pretty hard for a lot of people too, because a lot of builders and projects were anticipating this. Yeah. And this is something that Jakob was, who was on Leather Lounge yesterday, he was expecting that. It's a huge unlock, 5-second blocks. It's going to be a lot faster. You get that Bitcoin finality. So to have that unlock delayed was pretty hard for a lot of people. Kind of a downer for the community too. And to be honest, like waiting for something through summer isn't the most exciting time for any kind of space like this, especially in crypto, just because a lot of people are on vacation. So finally, the long wait is over. We know when we're gonna see that live. The hard block, as everyone knows by now, it's 864. That's when we do the hard fork, and we will be living in a post Nakamoto world sometime around October 9th or 10th.
Love to see it. We can get into some more Stack stuff later on, but I'll just give a few updates trust machines wise. So earlier this week we hosted a private webinar for dozens of domain registrars and resellers, getting them up to speed on Bitcoin and BNS. What was cool is a lot of them were more Bitcoin native than we thought, which is great news for our launch of Locker and BNS as a whole. So that was very exciting. I see Don is listening. Shout out to you, Don. That was an awesome webinar. There was a lot of great feedback. People were very excited about it. Yeah, and then just quickly to touch on BNS, you probably saw an update come out from Trust Machines. There is a slight delay. We had a formatting issue that we discovered, but it is in progress, and there will be a smooth delivery to all BNS users. So just keep an eye out on that, and feel free to check out the tweet if you want a little bit more info.
Nice. Is that is the new rollout supposed to happen pre-Nakamoto still?
I do believe so, but I should probably double check on that one.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Nice. So Locker, the Discord is active again. You've got the Leather Alpha program.
Yeah.
What else?
Lots going on. Oh, I want to say hi to Shaylee. Shaylee, how you doing? I'm excited that you're up here, and hopefully we can get you chiming in too.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Happy Friday. Glad to be here. And yeah, I'll chime in on some partnerships news whenever you're ready.
Amazing. Well, maybe Sean, if you want to do a little bit more of a recap about our chat with Yakov yesterday, and then yeah, it'd be great to talk about some partnerships.
Sure. Yeah, yesterday's Leather Lounge, it was episode 22 for us, and we had Jakob back. It was his second time on the show. First time was on our second episode, actually. So great to get him back. And so Jakob.btc is the founder and CEO of Hermetica, a DeFi protocol built on Bitcoin through the Stacks ecosystem. And on Wednesday, they launched USDH, which is a Bitcoin-backed synthetic dollar. So we had him on to not only talk about USDH and the mechanics of it, but it was a great opportunity to zoom out and get his insights into the Bitcoin ecosystem and why he feels it's so important to bank the unbanked throughout the world if they want to hold, something that is a one-to-one US dollar that's Bitcoin backed. USDH is a huge unlock for a lot of people. So yeah, great conversation yesterday, and we recorded here on X Spaces, but we also release on a podcast as well. So I invite anyone to listen back. It was a great conversation.
Yeah, I really like that one, and I know Jakob was really appreciative of, getting into his background and where he came from and some of his beliefs, which I think is so cool when we talk to, builders or creators, is really kind of understanding who they are too and some of their beliefs and their worldviews and how that affects, the products and stuff that they're building. So all around was a great conversation.
Yeah, definitely. I selected one little highlight from the conversation and posted that earlier. So when I get a chance, I'll pin that in a minute for anyone who wants to listen back.
Amazing. Excited for it. Shaylee, is there anything that you wanted to touch on partnerships wise?
Yeah. So this week, P-Stake launched with Leather. P-Stake is a liquid staking protocol on Babylon, a Bitcoin layer 2 proof of stake compatible with Ethereum. And yeah, I think it's exciting for our users. And it's our first time launching something like a product, I would say, with Babylon. So that's exciting. We're all about making Bitcoin productive. And so we love working with all the different layer 2s and meta protocols at Leather Wallet. The other piece of news that may have been discussed last week, but at Token 49, our CEO Munib Ali, who is also a co-creator of Stacks, announced that SBTC was coming to both Aptos and Solana. So those were exciting developments for builders in the Solana ecosystem as well as Aptos, and I think just for the entire Stacks community, it was an exciting win to see that type of interoperability across chains. So those are the big things around partnerships related to trust machines and the Bitcoin ecosystem.
Amazing. Wow, that's really exciting. Love it. More to come. I know that Shaylee and I are going to be collabing on some cool projects coming up with artists and NFTs and stuff. So all around, just very exciting. Don, is there anything that you wanted to touch on? If so, please feel free. If not, all good. I'm just happy to have you around.
Hi, thanks, Kate. Yeah, no, I mean we're just excited where we're at. I'm the GM of Orange Domains. For those of you who don't know, excited where we're at with Dot Locker and the BNSV2 rollout. Little hiccup this week, but it's back. The airdrop started again today, so we should be in good shape. And with all the other happenings within the ecosystem, the identities are going to play a huge role. So we're very excited about where we're at and where we're headed.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I know that the team here is working hard on it, and yeah, you guys have done a great job getting back on track. So very excited to be able to claim my own name too. All right. Well, with that, we should probably get into some of the exciting news that's happening.
Yeah. Do you want to jump in here? I see we've got first on the list, you've got BNY Mellon with a big announcement.
Yes. So they received an exception from the SEC's SAB 121 rule, which basically means they can provide institutional custody for digital assets without needing to claim them as liabilities. So it's kind of been a controversial rule. A lot of companies have found this accounting to be very burdensome. And BNY Bank Mellon currently controls $2 trillion in crypto assets. So this is quite favorable for them to not have to comply with this rule anymore. There's a little controversy saying that this is, giving some regulatory favoritism to bigger institutions as compared to smaller institutions like Custodia or Kraken, as they face stricter requirements. But yeah, Sean, what do you think about this?
I think you said it right. This is an example of favoritism. I think Custodia should have been first in line here, but it's another example of just the favoritism that gets played here. But big picture, it is good. And Brandon had a good post about this, how he thinks that this is the custody that BNY Mellon will provide. It's a good solution for a lot of people. So overall, it's a win, but it definitely doesn't feel equitable.
No, that's for sure. Maybe though in the future, like it kind of paves the way for smaller institutions to follow. But I can definitely see how it might not be, the most helpful for the smaller ones. But yeah.
Yeah. For maybe first in line, you don't get through the door first, but I guess if you get through the door, it's better late than never.
That kind of leads to even more SEC drama. There was a video that was posted of Gary Gensler, and he found himself in the hot seat during a congressional hearing. Shaylee, I saw you commented on this post. I liked your comment. Basically, there was lawmakers debating whether something buying like a New York Yankee ticket is the same as purchasing an NFT. And the big question was whether NFTs should be treated as securities under US law. And it kind of just goes to show how Gensler's approach to regulating crypto is very broad, and it doesn't give a lot of room for clarity, which ultimately kind of stifles innovation in this space. So yeah, I'll post the video so you guys can check it out. Shaylee, what were your thoughts on this? Because I saw your comment.
Yeah, so I think we are at an interesting point in time in terms of the crypto community being fed up by this sort of like regulating via enforcement actions of the SEC, wanting a little bit more clarity, not necessarily regulations, but just clarity in terms of guidelines, and not that in action, better dialogue with policymakers. And I think, because it's an election year and because the crypto industry has contributed so much to both the Republican campaigns and Democratic campaigns, people are listening and trying to, I think Congress people are trying to voice their frustration and the frustration of the industry in their own way. And so you're seeing a lot of like years and years of frustration kind of play out in these House Financial Services Committee hearings over the past month, which is interesting. So I think there's just going to continue to be more, and be on the lookout for a lot of news articles and statements from different Congress people, hopefully the White House, around crypto leading into the elections, because it is a hot topic, even though it may not be the most important topic. There are 52 million, crypto holders in the United States, which is a significant amount of the population. So, yeah, they're paying attention.
Yeah, Shaylee, what are your thoughts on, like you mentioned, it's an important topic for a lot of people, but politicians are weighing whether it's worth broadcasting their opinion on, their position. So what do you think the evolution has been lately? What do you think the evolution will be over the next uh, couple of months between now and the election, with politicians taking a stance and broadcasting that stance? Because maybe it might not be important. They might assess the landscape and think like, it's not worth it for me to chime in on this at all.
Yeah, I think obviously there's so many issues that people care about, right? Like housing, water, shelter, some of the basics, right?
Hmm.
Like everyday wages. So there are a lot of different, topics that they need to focus on. And while we who are deep every day into crypto, we may think that it is the most important topic. I think the thing that our message needs to be a little more focused on like, hey, this is about jobs and keeping innovation in the United States, and allowing for startups to grow in the United States as well. So it's about capital formation and innovation, jobs growth, as well as financial inclusion. So I think there are a lot of different like ways that you can sort of message on crypto, and there could be like some higher level messaging that needs to be like emphasized to politicians. They're not going to be talking about layer twos like we are.
Yeah, not there are no layer 2 single issue voters out there. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Nice. So what about PayPal, Kate? What's going on here?
This one is really exciting for me. I have actually been a longtime PayPal user myself. I'm a Canadian, but I spent a lot of time in the US. And so PayPal was like my main method of payment to pay my friends because I couldn't access Venmo. Um, so hearing that PayPal just rolled out new features for US business accounts, which allows them to buy, sell, hold, and transfer crypto, is very exciting. And a lot of people are very excited about this. So yeah, basically it's allowing businesses to move crypto assets to third-party wallets, external transfers, and it just really like shows, I think, their commitment to crypto. And I think that this is like a big move that will help onboard a lot of people.
A lot of people, except those in New York State.
It's always New York.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad, or sorry, I don't envy New York for the delay in new stuff, but yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
Yep, I think overall it's definitely a good sign, and it's just inevitable. It's not a question of if, but when we're going to see more adoption on just across the board. So yeah, +1. Let's see. When do we think New York State is going to get on board too? I wonder what the setbacks are there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Shaylee, I know you're like, is this something that you're familiar with as to like why or when New York would be on board?
Yeah, so I think there's like there's different types of regulation. So there's the New York Department of Financial Services, and they have their set of like regulations and requirements. And then if it depends on like what type of service you're offering, and I think in terms of money service business licenses in the United States, the way they work is it's state by state, and I don't know how New York differs from the other states, how difficult or easy it is to get a money service license business in New York. So I think it's not just like one type of license; it's a number of different type of licenses that make it challenging. But I know for us, I know for like self-custodial wallets, for example, on-off ramps it's more challenging to find on-off ramps in New York.
I also think it's interesting that they are using PYUSD, the PayPal Solana blockchain USD, US dollar. Obviously, I'm biased to Bitcoin, and I think that we should be doing as much on Bitcoin as possible because we're seeing scaling solutions. So But like you said, Shaylee, a minute ago, there have been these, invitations, and we're welcoming in people from the Solana and Aptos ecosystems, especially with SBTC around the corner. So I think it's good to be inclusive. But in the end, I think that all roads lead to Bitcoin. So yeah, I know there's a lot of focus on the Solana blockchain right now for many reasons, but yeah, bring it home to Bitcoin.
Bring it home.
100%. I mean, yeah, well, I'll let you continue with the news, but there's a lot to be bullish about in the Bitcoin space right now.
Amazing. Well,
Well,
maybe we'll touch on that at the end.
okay, yeah, you can't just float that teaser out there, but yeah, let's come back to that. I want to hear it from you, Shaylee.
Yeah, we'll be coming back.
Yeah,
Sean, do you want to take us through the NYDIG report, or basically Bitcoin is free speech?
sure. I can read the caption here. So this is an excerpt from the conclusion from this NYDIG report. So Bitcoin implicates the First Amendment as a system for collecting and communicating information ranging from payment data to art. Bitcoin is free speech. As a statement of protest against the government's monopoly over money, Bitcoin is expressive conduct. And as a collection of individuals that share Bitcoin's hard-coded principles of individual liberty, anti-censorship, and anti-debasement, Bitcoin is an expressive association. Bitcoin is free speech protected by the First Amendment, and therefore, regulating Bitcoin has clear constitutional implications. How great is that?
That's a big one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty powerful. Like, it's obviously, this was like an 18-page paper that was released on this, and it goes through like a lot of precedent that could hold up in terms of Bitcoin being free speech. I've seen some people commenting saying like Bitcoin is code, therefore code is speech.
Mhm.
But it's tough. Like Bitcoin, it's a software, so I think probably like you might be protected by you know joining the network and maybe mining the network. But there is like a lot of tax and AML, KYC implications. So I don't know. Personally, I think it might be a hard one to say that Bitcoin is free speech, but I don't know. This is a spicy opinion, but I do like it.
Yeah, it's one for the courts to figure out, but it's a great conversation to be had. This does
Totally.
remind me, like so many of the stories that we're talking about today. I was just thinking that in the previous bull market, it seems like retail got there first and then the institutions came. And I feel like it's flipped right now because, and maybe this is the crypto Twitter bubble that we're in, but like, where is retail, right?
Hmm.
And maybe they're just starting to come in, right? But over the last 6 months, and maybe even 12 months, we've been seeing so much more about institutions coming out with a Bitcoin strategy and not a lot of retail. Like, how many family members have been asking you about Bitcoin lately?
I can't say too many.
That's why we have Leather Wallet. We need to make self custody great again, right?
Make it fashionable.
I think it's, yeah. Well, also make the user experience so beautiful and seamless that everyone wants to use it and they understand it and they're educated about it.
Exactly.
And they feel secure. I think retail will come because they will see the institutional headlines. I think they'll come. The institutions are good for the overall market, and I think retail will follow, as well as there will be a convergence of DeFi and TradFi eventually because of this huge influx of money coming in through ETFs.
Totally. And I also think that like one thing that's so important is like really integrating crypto or Bitcoin in a way that people don't even like. It's not the forefront, it's not the benefit itself, it's like all the benefits that it brings. So really integrating in a way that you're not even realizing or caring about it. I think like that's what's going to be so powerful. And I think that like that's might happen with PayPal's integration, but I know that, we are working on that too. And I love to see, when being built on blockchain is not the biggest benefit. It's just like the integrity of it.
Totally.
Yeah, that reminds me, we've had a lot of guests who are building these amazing platforms and protocols. And thing that we come back to a lot is this idea of abstraction, right? Where, for example, with the internet, like, I don't know anything about HTTP, TCP/IP, email protocols. I know it works. And for a lot of people, like everyone listening here, everyone in our circle, we're early and we're educated. We know like how the system works. But in the future, as more adoption, as there's more getting put onto the Bitcoin blockchain, people aren't going to be as aware of that. They may see that some store, some artist, someone that they follow, some TV show, some movie, there's going to be like marketing and hype, and there's going to be NFTs around it, and they want to say like, oh, okay, I want to have an NFT, and it might not even be called an NFT, but they may have no idea that there's some sort of blockchain rails enabling it, right? But it'll just happen, but they won't really be aware of it.
Yep. I love it. I think that's the way.
Well, Shaylee, what about that tease about everything that you're excited about?
Well, actually, I am excited about, I kind of mentioned it, just like BlackRock having the highest daily inflow of any fund this month on September 25th. So there was like a bunch. So, the ETFs, like I said, I think are a signal that more liquidity is coming into the system, which means people will pay attention and it will eventually trickle down into retail and, layer twos, and become available for builders to continue to build and create new experiences. But something else I'm excited about is during the open discussion, something that my friend Josh Phelps, who I see is on this thread, is working on in the mining space, which is, so whenever that time comes, I'd love for him to share about what he's working on. Sorry to put you on the spot, Josh.
Yeah, I love it. Well, there's a lot going on in Bitcoin, but most exciting thing coming up, I think, is a lot of the things that are going on in Stacks. And there's just been so much excitement about it. There's been a lot of speculation about, what number Stacks will land at in terms of price. But Sean, is there anything that that really excites you about the Nakamoto upgrade and a lot of the fun things coming with that?
Yeah, so I think the number one use case is DeFi, right? So with a lot of these platforms, the 10-minute, like minimum 10-minute block time has been a really big hindrance because of there's so much slippage. There's so much price changes that can happen between a block if it's on the fast side within minutes. And sometimes we have seen Stacks blocks that have like gone past an hour. Like sometimes they're 30 minutes. Like that happens somewhat regularly. So that's such a blocker to DeFi. And if we want to scale Bitcoin, we need a solution like Stacks, but it does need to be fast. So Nakamoto is the expression that Stacks, I think, has always anticipated becoming, and it's finally here. So obviously, if you had to pick like, what are you most excited about? Is it the Bitcoin finality? Is it the 5-second blocks? I mean, ultimately, everyone has their preferences. Functionally, it's probably the fast blocks because that's what makes it competitive with Solana, right? But it's decentralized still, so you're not having to make those compromises. And then there's the Bitcoin finality piece as well. So I think it's just such an elegant solution. One part of the discussion with Stacks as far as NFTs and data storage, for the most part, any NFT collection that is released on Stacks, the data is stored on IPFS. And we could have a whole show dedicated to having people argue about how decentralized IPFS is, how permanent it is, but ultimately the information can get pruned. It's not like truly forever. the way inscribing information and data onto the Bitcoin blockchain is. We've touched on DMT mints, digital matter theory mints, super lightweight JSON scripts that can be inscribed on chain. And these kinds of solutions allow for data storage to be on chain. So I think that's one important part that we need to be educated about with Stacks is where's the data being stored? Because IPFS is a great solution for a lot of reasons and a lot of purposes. From an artist perspective, excuse me. From an artist perspective, there's a little bit of a barrier to inscribing on Bitcoin L1. Maybe not right now, while we're seeing, 2, 4, maybe 10 sats per VByte. It can be somewhat affordable to put some data, like the most important data, on L1. But as we've seen, when we see fee spikes and we see 400, 500 sats per VByte, it just prices people out and it really becomes competitive. And that's when you see the movement into L2s like Stacks. So I think Nakamoto just really unlocks the next phase of Bitcoin scalability. And I'm excited for it. We're in the home stretch here. We're less than 2 weeks away.
Yeah, I love it. I think there's just going to be a lot of fun things happening all around on crypto Twitter and a lot of discords and a lot of communities that are just getting really excited. There's some really good projects launching, and I'm sure we will be talking to a lot of them.
Yeah, Leo Coin is getting a lot of attention right now. They have a 10,000 PFP collection coming out pretty soon.
Yep.
And they are handing out whitelists. So it's been, I've been in the Stacks ecosystem for several years now. So to see the excitement getting generated again, it's really fun because some of the old communities are starting to rekindle again. Some of them have just gone away forever. But if you think like a project and a community like Megapont, they're not going anywhere. They're still spinning out a lot of builders, a lot of active people in the community. So yeah, like you said, there's going to be more and more exciting projects, artists coming over. Oh, one point I started to make on the artist writing onto Bitcoin L1. For a lot of artists who just want to dip their toes here, they may not have $1,000 to inscribe a collection or a piece of art, a high quality art on Bitcoin L1. But they want to break into the ecosystem. They want to start building their audience. And that's what Stacks, using IPFS for storage, that's why that's an elegant solution. So yes, Stacks with Nakamoto especially is going to help scale out Bitcoin, but it's also going to welcome, it's inclusive. It's welcoming more and more people, especially artists, into the Bitcoin and the greater Bitcoin ecosystem.
I love it. What more could you ask for?
Leather mobile.
That's true.
Yeah.
Hey, don't go there. I'm not sure if there's anyone in the audience who wants to come up and ask any questions, or if there's any, exciting things that you wanted to share. Maybe it's something that you're working on too. We'd love to hear from you. But if not, maybe Sean, you would want to, do you have anyone exciting on the Leather Lounge next week?
Ooh, next week. What a good segue from our Bitcoin art conversation. Yeah, we're going to have the Eons platform and Stephen Miller. So Stephen Miller is a fantastic art advocate, educator, collector in the space. And there's a new platform called Eons. And so I think we're exploring some partnerships possibly, but at least we're going to have them on the Leather Lounge next week to talk about what they're doing. So yeah, next week, Thursday, 3 p.m., Stephen Miller from Eons will be joining us.
Awesome. That will be a fun one for sure. I'm very excited.
Anything else? I think that takes us to the end of what we had lined up today.
Yeah. Lots going on, lots to be excited for, but really thank you to you, Sean, Shaylee, and everyone who came in today. Leather Lounge every Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, and Good for Bitcoin every Friday, 2 p.m.
Don't forget to touch grass and have a beautiful week.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Have a good weekend.
thank you for listening. We record Good for Bitcoin live every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on X. Please follow us at Trust Machines Co. if you would like to listen and engage with us live. Visit us at trustmachines.co for all the latest Bitcoin news. We'll see you next week.